Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Seaman's Cinema Sit-Down. This was supposed to be my welcome back to the cinema sit-down after being away, dealing with some personal health stuff for a couple weeks, but the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer 2 dropped, and that kind of leapfrogged the ability of me sitting down and getting to talk about everything before fully coming back. And if you want to see that first appearance of the old Seaman in a couple weeks, and you haven't yet, you can check out that trailer reaction right up there. But now, we shift gears to not talk about movies or TV or trailers, but to talk about the old Seaman. I just went through a rough little stint for a couple weeks, and it's one of those things where, in a world full of misinformation, having personally experienced something, I just kind of wanted to give you guys some updates, some tips, and let you know how I'm feeling and what my experience was like. What am I talking about? If you don't follow me on Twitter or Instagram, or you didn't see that Let There Be Carnage trailer reaction, then you might not know what I'm talking about. So the only way to fix that is to pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in, spoiler-filled, into the Seaman's COVID-19 run. I contracted COVID-19 back on July 21st, or at least that was the first symptoms that I saw. And it's crazy. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how I got COVID. Like, when the pandemic hit, anything that the CDC was putting out there, I followed, because I'm a very fearful person. You know what I mean? I don't like pain. I don't like conflict. That stuff's not my deal. And like, seeing people on ventilators and stuff just scared the living daylights out of me, to where I was like, social distancing, masks, I'm here for all that stuff at all times. And went like almost 2 years without being sick. Anybody that says masks are bullshit are full of shit themselves, because I am typically like a walking head cold or sinus infection, man. Growing up, having seasonal allergies that were really bad, I had sinus infections all the time. And I am usually good for like 3 or 4 pretty bad head colds throughout the course of any given year. And to not have any of that pop up for almost 2 years, like, yeah, masks definitely work. But that being said, it was kind of crazy to all of a sudden like get really sick. And it started for me Wednesday night, July 21st, into Thursday morning, July 22nd. My nose decided to become a faucet. And I went through like 2 boxes of tissues in like a 5-hour stint. I had to, was working like an overnight thing at work. I had to leave work, come back to my apartment, take a steam shower, nasal spray, just to kind of dry everything up so I could get through the rest of the night. But in all honesty, like, I wasn't thinking COVID, because I'm vaccinated. I got the Pfizer vaccine at the end of April, and like the second week of May, I think, was like 3 weeks after. So fully vaccinated, was not thinking COVID, but was working on an assignment that involved a bunch of people from the outside, bringing people in. And just being around a lot of different people, I was like, oh man, like, I definitely just caught like a head cold, or a germ that leads to a cold from someone that I don't know. And I kind of pushed through that night, went to sleep, got up, middle of the day on Thursday, and I felt warm. I'm not someone who typically gets fevers when I'm sick. And just knowing all the protocols that we have at work, I was like, if I have a fever, I'm going to have to let somebody know, so that like I'm not potentially getting anybody sick, at the office. So buddy down the hall has, a thermometer, so I borrowed that from him. And temp about midday on Thursday the 22nd was at 101. I was like, well, that's not good. Reached out to my manager, who put me in contact with the HR health folks, and they were like, not a big deal. Just quarantine yourself and go 24 hours symptom-free, and then you can come back. So I was like, okay, no big deal. That shouldn't be too bad. Like I said, having grown up with sinus infections and lots of nasal and chest congestion, I'm very familiar with how to deal with that stuff. So grabbed my Dayquil and my NyQuil, got my Mucinex, had my nose spray. I was ready to go. And then Friday night into Thursday night into Friday night, all of a sudden, my fever like spiked, and I was sitting between 103 and 104 almost that entire night. And it was like get under covers to be warm, but then because your body is like at 104, being under the covers, you get pretty hot pretty quick. But then when you throw those covers off, I was like violently shaking. I felt so cold. And that was when I knew things were probably not very good. Like that's not a normal cold. And like I said, being someone who doesn't get fevers, I was like immediately very nervous that this could be COVID-19 related. So when I got up on Friday, reached out to the health folks and were like, hey, can I come to the mobile medical unit like on campus and just get checked out real quick? Like I don't want to wait to be symptom free for 24 hours because like I just want to know what's going on. Like there's enough things that are starting to check COVID boxes where I'd rather know. So they're like, of course, come on down. Huge shout out to this entire medical team. It's just this tiny little mobile medical unit that we have on site. But they were so friendly. They were so helpful and come in, check me out. Sinuses don't look great, but they don't look horrid. They could see a little bit of fluid building up in the back of my ears, which I could definitely feel pressure-wise. And they could tell I was definitely congested. And just coming off of the fevers, by that day, I think that was the third day of symptoms. Maybe that might have been the fourth day. Third day of symptoms. I was at like a 102. So they're like, hey, we just want to test you just to be sure. There's a flu going around, so it might be that, but just to be sure it's not COVID, we want to give you a rapid test. Now, for anybody who's like me that hates anything painful or uncomfortable, the idea of a cotton swab going into my nostril and tickling my brain, as people have said, freaked me out really badly. And what was funny is you have like the registered nurse who was like looking at me and the nurse who gave the test. Registered nurse starts like rubbing my shoulder, and she's like, just focus on me rubbing your shoulder and breathe. Not a big deal, just breathe, it'll be fine. And they go up both nostrils. In all honesty, it wasn't bad at all. Like I was like, you don't need to be rubbing my shoulder. Like that was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then like 25, 30 minutes later, comes back in and goes, believe it or not, you have COVID-19. Like I know you're vaccinated, and the flu is going around, but you have COVID. So immediately sent home to quarantine, called my doctor right away. I think, so that was Friday. Got on the phone with my doctor, had like a video call. By the time we got through everything, she was like, look, false positives happen with COVID based on your symptoms. I'm thinking that it's probably COVID. It's probably the Delta variant because you're vaccinated. So why don't you come down to Jersey and we'll give you a PCR test. So went down, didn't even have to go into the doctor's office. She just come down, pull up, call a number, and they send someone out to the car so you don't have to come in to give the test. So did that, came back home, and I guess from a symptom standpoint, this is like when the fatigue really started kicking in. Because I was checked out by the medical unit on Friday, and then my doctor wasn't back in the office until that following Monday. So I went through the weekend because I was like manageable symptoms, right? It's nasal congestion, chest congestion, the fever, which after 4 days finally dissipated and went away. But it was all stuff that I can manage with over-the-counter drugs. And kind of just went through those first few days, got down, got my PCR test. 2 days later, that comes back positive. And they're like, yeah, so we know that it's COVID. We know that it's the Delta variant. Keep doing all the things that you're doing. And hopefully after 10 days minimum of quarantining and then 24 hours of no symptoms, you'll be able to go back, to life as normal. So all that kind of stuff happens, and now we get to here, where I've kind of gone through my whole run. So from a symptom standpoint, it was like an unbelievable runny nose the first night, fever for the first 4 days, 103, 104, like that second night. Got up really high and then was between 101 and 102 until the fever finally broke. And then after that, it was, there was some pressure behind my ears almost the whole time. It never got to like ear infection level, but I could feel pressure in the back of my ears the whole run of COVID up until I went to the hospital to get the monoclonal antibody therapy, which happened Monday, Tuesday. That was on Thursday. So like almost a full week from first symptoms, I was able to go get the monoclonal antibody therapy, which helped tremendously. But so it was pressure behind my ears, nose pressure and congestion, chest congestion, and then the fever early, the first couple days, and then after the fever broke, fatigue, like every single day. Like I was able to work and been able to work remotely based on how I'm set up. But if I had to go to my doctor, which is down in Jersey, those 2 days that I traveled, for the PCR test and for the medicine, got home dead. If I worked 4 or 5 hours at my computer, I needed to lay down for 3 or 4. And there was no day where I didn't take a nap until yesterday, which is not something that I'm used to at all. And then the last couple days, there was minor headaches during the middle of the day, and that pretty much was all of my symptoms. And I can't smell. I fortunately have my taste, so I can eat food and know what it tastes like and know it tastes good. But I can't smell if it's burning in the oven because I literally nothing gets through these smell wise, which is nuts. And my girlfriend said that could last up to 3 months, which is crazy. So I'll let you know when the smell comes back, but those were kind of the symptoms that I dealt with. And like I said, I think being vaccinated kept me out of the hospital, maybe saved my life. Who knows how bad this could have been, specifically with the fever, had I not been vaccinated. But the thing that I think it definitely did for sure was the severity of the symptoms was probably about half. I know a bunch of people personally who had COVID before the vaccination, and my symptoms all in line with what they had, just at a way less worse severity level. So fortunately, this was something that I was able to kind of just maintain, via over-the-counter drugs. And then, like I said, the monoclonal antibody therapy medication. Holy cow, did that help a lot. I think I only took the Dayquil, NyQuil, Mucinex one day after that. So it was probably on Saturday. But Sunday, Monday, Tuesday now, no medicines. I'm feeling a lot better. The pressure behind my ears was really the first thing to go, and then kind of everything else just kind of cleared up. It's the same medical therapy that President Trump had when he got COVID, and 100% huge help, man. But specifically on the fatigue side, I started to kind of feel more like myself after that. And here we are, man. We're at the end of it, and I'm feeling better. I'm looking forward to being able to go back out into the world, but I will say this: I will be masked when I go into that world, because I ain't trying to possibly, be carrying and pass it off or catch it again or just get sick in general, man. Like I said, two years almost without being sick. Masks freaking work, and the one time, there's one time that I can think of where I was around lots of strangers without masks, and I get the Delta variant. I'm just going to be someone who, if I'm around strangers, the Lollapalooza, I'm not saying don't go live your lives, but follow the things the CDC says. If I were at Lollapalooza, I tweeted this out with that image because there were so many freaking people so close together. I would have been the Where's Waldo wearing the mask in that picture. So for me personally, if I go to a sporting event or to the movies or out to dinner, and I'm at a bar or something like that, I will be masked up for sure. I'll probably bring a straw with me to drink whatever I'm drinking. But I will just personally be super cautious. And my advice to anybody who doesn't want to get COVID, who doesn't want to go through anything like that, or potentially catch it and spread it without, if you're asymptomatic, my advice is mask up when you're around strangers, socially distance where you can when you're indoors and there are strangers, so something like a bar, and just be cautious, man. And if you start to feel sick, call your doctor. If you have gone through this COVID pandemic run and you haven't been sick and you suddenly get sick, call your doctor. It might be the flu. The flu is going around right now, but it could be this Delta variant. And the best thing that you can do if you're not sure is go to your doctor, man. Let them check you out. They're not gonna shove anything right up your nose right away. They'll evaluate you and let you know if you need to get tested. But trust your doctors. I can't thank my doctors enough, whether it was the mobile medical team from work or my personal doctor, Dr. Christina. She's the best. She's been my doctor forever. It's just people at the hospital who gave me the treatment. Everybody was super, super nice, super friendly, made this whole experience not as bad as it could have been, and we're always looking out for my best interests. So if you don't want to get COVID, that's something you're worried about, mask indoors, socially distance where you can, and if you start feeling sick, just go to your doctor, and they'll let you know what the deal is. So that's it, man. That's all the C-Man's got to say about COVID-19. COVID-19 sucks. And there's lots of misinformation out there, but don't let people make you think that the vaccine, is something you shouldn't get because people with the vaccine are getting COVID. I'm pretty sure if I didn't have the vaccine, my experience would have been like twice as bad, if not even worse than that. If something that you're thinking about is not wanting to get COVID, vaccine, the vaccine is so important. Get vaccinated. If you're not feeling well, see a doctor. Socially distance. Wear masks. Those are all my tips. Those are all my experiences with COVID-19's Delta variant. I hope that this was helpful to you. This was nice to just kind of say, to let everybody know what was going on. And it is very good to be back in my seat, talking to you guys on camera. I look forward to all the things I have to catch up on. There's so much stuff to catch up on. But until we get there, I'm going to shut up because I've been talking for too long. Now it's your turn, man. Anything you got to say, whether it's just about COVID-19 in general, if you have thoughts about vaccinations, if you have questions for me, if you have had your own experiences with COVID, anything you got around COVID, having COVID, vaccines, medical treatments, anything that you're thinking or want to say, good, bad, or indifferent. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me. You want to have a conversation? I'm more than happy to have a conversation, answer any questions anybody has. You can do all of that by hitting the comment section down below. Look forward to talking to you guys down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with C-Man as we get ready to get back into all the stuff that I love to be in, man. I got so many trailers. You're going to get a lot of trailer reactions over the next few days. I've watched a ton of stuff. Man, when you are stuck on a couch or in your bed quarantining, I was able to watch a bunch of things. So we got things to talk about on the review side. Like I said, lots of trailers. You want to be here for any of those conversations and things we're doing. And you haven't yet, you want to show a little love and support the old C-Man, which, by the way, to all you C-Maniacs out there, thank you so much. Your thoughts and prayers are so appreciated. To anybody that commented on my posts on Insta or Twitter or here in the YouTube comments, I appreciate you guys, man. Some of you I've known my whole life. Some of you I've only known since I've been here. Some of you I've just met. But anybody that sent well wishes, thank you so much. I appreciate this fan base. I appreciate this community of people that I interact with. I'm so pumped to get back to that with you guys. But if you haven't and you want to be part of that community, it's real easy to join C-Maniac Nation, man. All you got to do is jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down. Oh, it feels good to be back. I've been the C-Man, and I am signing off. Peace!
Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.